at Twende Shule, the project that offer an online teaching in various subjects. So we continue with our history subject. The third topic in Form 4, changes in political, social, and economic policies in Africa after independence. Therefore, in the previous lesson, we discussed about political changes in Africa after the independence, whereby most of the country changed from multi-party system to monopartism. Now here we are going to see the post-independent coup d'etats in Africa. As I told you before, that soon after the independence, and even after the formation of the civilian government, coup d'etat was just normal in Africa. Most of the African countries experienced the coup d'etat. It was just normal as a breakfast, as how you are taking breakfast in the morning. So it was not something to wonder when you hear about coup d'etat in any country. It was just normal at that time. Therefore, by definition, we say coup d'etat refers to a sudden military overthrow of a civilian government by the armed forces. So basically, the concept of coup d'etat is the sudden military overthrow of the civilian government by the armed forces. Or we can say coup d'etat is an unlawful and unconstitutional overthrow of the existing government by the armed forces. Or we can say it's the sudden overthrow of a military government by another military forces. So Africa by 1960s to 1980s was dominated by coup d'etat. For instance, in Egypt, 1952, when Mohammed Naguib overthrew Farouk, which ended the kingship in Egypt. Then 2 years later, in the same country, 1954, when Gamal Abdel Nasser overthrew Mohammed Naguib. Another coup d'etat occurred in Togo in 1963, when Etienne Oyadame overthrew Sylvanus Olympio. Another coup d'etat occurred in Congo in 1960, when Kasavubu, in collaboration with Mobutu's Coup Mbendwa Zabanga, overthrew Patrice Emile Lumumba. So in 1960, when Kasavubu collaborated with Mobutu Sese Seko Coup Mbendwa Zabanga to overthrow Patrice Lumumba, so Kasavubu existed only for 5 years until 1965, when he was overthrown in 1965 by Mobutu Sese Seko Coup Mbendwa Zabanga. Another coup d'etat occurred in Uganda. So here in Uganda, they have a unique story. Even before 1961, coup d'etat was normal. Like in 1966, when Milton Obote overthrew the government of Kabaka Mutesa. So even Milton Obote came into power through coup d'etat, and he was overthrown in 1971 by Idi Amin Dada. Another coup d'etat happened in Nigeria in 1966, when Abubakar Balewa Tafawa was overthrown. So you may see here in Africa, coup d'etat was just normal. When you visit in the Central Republic, when you visit in Guinea, when you visit in Cameroon, when you visit in Upper Volta, which was renamed as Burkina Faso, the land of upright men, coup d'etat was normal. So the African people were expecting that upon the attainment of political independence, they will be able now to live in peace and harmony. But their land was turned as a ground battle for struggle for power. Those military personnel were struggling in political power. Maybe there were a reason for them to struggle for political power because of the failure of the existing government, but sometimes it was just because of the greediness of those people who wanted to take political power. You know, they say, if you have political power, you have economic power. Because those with the political power, they have economic power. But sometimes those with economic power, they may have political power. So even those military personnel who were trusted for the defense of the nation, most of them became greedy for the political power because they knew that when you assume a political position, you will be able to access any national resource. Because they knew that upon the attainment of political position, they will be able to be corrupt and no one will judge them and question them. Because they knew that upon the attainment of political independence, the Africa now will start controlling themselves. So who to control them were those military personnel. Therefore, coup d'etat, the military overthrow of the civilian government, was normal in Africa. Now let us examine what were the factors for the coup d'etat in Africa, which culminated the coup d'etat in Africa. What were the impetus? What were the circumstances? First was the failure of the civilian government to bring development. You know that upon the attainment of political independence, the African youth, they thought that they'll be employed now. The African women were thought that upon the attainment of political independence, they'll be able to get water from the tap, but they are still traveling 10 kilometers for finding water. African youth were the same problem, swimming across Mediterranean and Atlantic Sea, going to Italy so that they may be enslaved anew. So the civilian government that was formed soon after the independence failed to bring development. The African youth thought that upon the attainment of political independence, they'll be able to enjoy their national resources, they'll be able to enjoy the national cake. But something went astray out of their expectation. So their illusion now is what drove them, is what drove them to support military coup d'etats. So for those who joined the military arms, for those who joined the armed forces, when they saw that the existing government has failed to bring development, has failed to address the problem of poverty, has failed to address the problem of social services, has failed to address the problem of social infrastructures, they decided to overthrow the government by expecting that we are going to change the situation. But sometime when they entered to the power, they did the same. That's why one of the writers in Ghana wrote, "The beautiful ones are not yet born." That we expected that maybe when this military will come into power, we expect changes.